A goddess tried to strip his soul clean before shipping him home. Our hero saw the betrayal coming from across the dimension. He betrayed the goddess first. He punched a hole in her farewell party and returned to Earth. Every scrap of forbidden power still hummed in his veins. A red crystal the size of a small house sat in the middle of an exam field. This sacred testing stone usually took military recruits a lifetime to crack. Kim Mun walked up to the stone. He rolled his shoulders and wound up one lazy fist. The whole thing exploded into crimson dust like dry noodles. The examiners dropped their clipboards in shock. Next, we see the daughter of the general. She was a living legend and sat at the top of every ranking chart. The entire academy was supposed to bow to her. She prepared to sweep every event. The girl lined up next to a random unknown guy. She lost the first round. She tried again but lost again. She kept trying while Kim Mun simply existed. A monster shaped like a wolf the size of a delivery truck lunged at our hero. He reached for his signature dark magic. Another world called this soul-crushing horror a curse. However, nothing happened. His power had gone on strike. He did not panic. He decided 10 fingers and a mean right hook would do the job. They absolutely did the job. In the middle of this chaos, a soldier squinted at him. The soldier asked how Kim Mun did not know about the monsters on Earth. That was a very good question. There was a reason for his ignorance. We must rewind the story. We need to explain how a random recruit was destroying sacred crystals with a single hit. He was murdering monsters with his bare knuckles. The world thought Kim Mun was dead for 2 years. He spent 2 years in another dimension. He spent 2 years fighting things that could vaporize a country. A specific woman upstairs decided he was too dangerous to send home. The woman was right about his danger. However, she made her move too late. The most prestigious military academy in the country ran its annual entrance exam. This was a very big deal. It was not a normal school. Since monsters appeared on Earth, this place became a factory for survivors. Successful students started careers fighting monsters. Those who failed returned to the general population. They hoped a giant lizard would not stroll into their neighborhood. The field was packed with hundreds of hopeful people. Everyone talked about a single name. Son Eno was the daughter of the general. Her fans called her Yuno. She was a combat prodigy who trained since she could walk. She ranked #1 in every prep exam that year. She strolled onto the field with total confidence. A guy nobody ever heard of stood quietly off to the side. He had no entourage or expensive gear. He looked like he wanted to be anywhere else on the planet. That man was Kim Mun. The first test was the crystal. This tradition involved a glowing red stone that measured raw striking power. Recruits lined up to take their swing. Most top prospects managed to cause a solid fracture. Son Eno stepped up and planted her feet. She delivered a clean strike that created many cracks. The crowd cheered for her perfect score and new record. Examiners scribbled notes while someone whistled. The record was supposed to stand for the entire day. Then the examiners called the name of Kim Mun. He walked up like he was ordering coffee. He did not use a wind-up or a war cry. He threw one punch and the reinforced crystal detonated. It did not merely crack or shatter, it completely detonated. Red dust rained down like confetti. The examiners froze in place. One man dropped his pen in surprise. Recruits near the stage flinched in fear. Someone in the back asked if he had just killed the crystal. He did exactly that. He destroyed the stone with the effort of a man swatting a fly. Kim Mun blinked at the pile of dust. He looked puzzled as if he expected the stone to resist. He shrugged and walked off the stage without any showboating. This made the moment 100 times cooler. Son Eno watched with her jaw on the floor. Kim Mun did not just beat her score. He obliterated the tool that measures the record. The examiners whispered while staring at the empty pedestal. This was only the first event. The examiners still had to conduct the running and sparring tests. If the crystal was dust, what would happen next? Kim Mun prepared to walk through every event easily. Son Eno was going to hate every second of it. The second event was a punishing sprint course. Son Eno finished the course quickly. She was the fastest recruit in her age bracket. She checked her time and gave a satisfied nod. Then Kim Mun stepped to the starting line. The crowd became silent as they watched him. Everyone wanted to see what he would do next. The horn blew for the start. Kim Mun's first step launched him forward with incredible power. He cleared the first hurdle without touching it. He moved up the wall as if it were optional. He was not sprinting but gliding. He crossed the finish line so fast the timekeeper checked the sensor 3 times. Kim Mun annihilated the record by an impossible margin. Son Eno looked shocked. She had spent her life being the best. Now she watched an unknown recruit break every rule. The third event was a grip test. He crushed the metal bar and bent it into a horseshoe. The fourth event involved precision target strikes. He hit every target so fast the operator thought the machine failed. The fifth event was sparring. The academy put him against a senior instructor. This instructor was a former Special Forces soldier in great shape. He was supposed to test the talent of the recruit. Instead, Kim Mun read his movements perfectly. He ducked a jab and slipped a knee strike. Kim Mun tapped the instructor twice on vital spots. He bowed politely and apologized quietly. The instructor stood in the ring in total shock. Kim Mun's name sat at the top of every event. He had perfect scores across the board. Son Eno appeared in second place for every single category. She stared at the scoreboard in disbelief. An examiner picked up a phone to report the recruit. He told his superior they needed to investigate Kim Mun immediately. Normal people do not destroy sacred stones with one punch. They do not outrun sprinters so easily. They certainly do not fold metal grip bars in half. We must ask who Kim Mun really is. We have to look back 2.5 years. At that time, Kim Mun was nobody. He was a normal guy in his 20s. He had normal problems and normal bills. His apartment had a leaky faucet he never fixed. He liked instant ramen and basic self-defense. He was not a chosen one or a genius. One ordinary afternoon, the sky above him tore open. There was blue light and a crack of thunder. He looked up as a hole appeared in reality. The light pulled him in and swallowed him whole. He left Korea behind. He woke up on cold stone. The room looked like a cathedral built of moonlight. Robed people stood in a big circle. A woman sat on a throne of starlight. She smiled at him with a dark promise. She welcomed him as a hero and said her world needed him. He had been transported to another world. This place was called Isgard. The world had a major problem. A great evil was brewing in the shadows. The gods could not deal with this ancient horror. They snatched mortals from other worlds for centuries to help. Kim Mun was the latest recruit. He asked to go home immediately. The goddess smiled and said he could leave after defeating the evil. This errand turned into 2 years of non-stop war. When they scanned his soul, the room went quiet. He did not have holy or light magic. Kim Mun possessed dark, forbidden magic. The Church of Isgard had burned people for using such power. He had an ocean of this dark energy. The priests panicked and some wanted to execute him. Others wanted to seal him under a temple. The goddess thought his power was very convenient. She knew the great evil was made of dark magic. To kill something dark, you need something darker. They decided to train him instead. They actually broke him down to rebuild him. They handed Kim Mun to the most brutal instructors. These masters of the dark arts lived in hidden fortresses. They were butchers rather than teachers. They threw him into pits with monsters for his lessons. On day 1, he almost died. On day 3, he died for 11 seconds before being revived. His body was forged through constant pain. He learned how to survive hits and fight through injuries. He learned how to sleep in armor. He learned how to fight through broken ribs. He suffered from torn tendons and a splitting headache that never fully went away. Then there was the magic. Dark magic in Isgard did not play by clean rules. It did not use pretty words or light up a spellbook. The magic was hungry. Every time he cast a spell, the magic wanted something in return. It wanted a little sleep or a little warmth. Sometimes it wanted a little piece of who he used to be. The trick was casting the spell without letting it eat you alive. Most people who tried dark magic went crazy within a single month. Kim Mun went 2 years without cracking. By the end, he was not just controlling the magic, he was the master of it. He became the walking embodiment of the thing every priest feared. When he stepped onto a battlefield, the monsters turned around. Enemy generals lost their appetite. His own allies stopped making eye contact. The armies of the great evil fell like dominoes. Cities were freed and kingdoms were restored. Legends were written in real time. These legends left his name out on purpose. The church could not bear to admit their savior was a dark mage. However, Kim Mun did not care. He was not fighting for statues or songs. He did it because a goddess at the end of the road owed him a ticket home. Every dead monster brought him one step closer to Korea. After 2 years, he finally cornered the great evil itself. It was not a monster, but a shape. It was a hole in the world and a wound that ate souls. Every hero before him was unmade before they could raise a sword. Kim Mun walked up to it alone. He looked at it and swallowed it. His dark magic drank the thing whole. He absorbed every last drop into his own reserve. The sky became quiet for the first time in a very long time. Isgard was saved. Far away in a temple, the goddess felt the shift. Her little smile changed. She was not proud. She realized her weapon was now the strongest thing in her world. It was about to walk into her throne room and ask for a reward. Kim Mun returned to that temple. The banners were up and the priests were singing. Everyone celebrated the death of the great evil. The goddess greeted him warmly and called him a hero. She promised to fulfill her end of the deal. She told him she would send him back to his world that very afternoon. She told the hero to step onto the summoning circle. Kim Mun walked toward the circle. His 2 years of paranoia finally paid off. He had spent 2 years watching his back in a world that hated him. He heard the priests muttering behind the pillars. He remembered the goddess's smile whenever his powers were mentioned. That smile did not turn off even now. It was the smile of someone who was about to do something terrible. He walked slower and listened. Under the ceremonial chanting, he caught the priests weaving an extra spell. It was not a portal but a stripping ritual. It was a soul filter designed to yank out his dark magic. He would wake up on Earth as a normal and powerless man. He would not even remember his 2-year war. The goddess planned to keep his stored power in a jar. It was a beautiful plan that would have worked on a trusting hero. Kim Mun did not smile back. He kept walking calmly onto the summoning circle. The priest chanted louder and the magic started to hum. Right when the ritual was about to trigger, he did something unexpected. He carved his own portal right through the middle of hers. He ripped open a dark rift with a snap of his magic. The goddess's grin dropped and the priest scattered. Someone screamed. She reached out to freeze the circle, but it was too late. Kim Mun stepped through his own portal and gave her a small nod. He vanished and took every ounce of his forbidden power with him. The last thing he saw was her furious face. Kim Mun was finally going home. The portal spat him out. He smelled exhaust fumes and street food. He had dreamed about this for 24 brutal months. Kim Mun took a very deep breath. He was home, and he dropped to his knees from relief. He was finally back on Korean soil. He thought about his leaky faucet and his crappy apartment. He wanted every boring second of his old life. He pulled out his phone, but it was dead. He looked around and the smile slowly left his face. The street he was standing on was not right. There were no cars moving on the road. A few abandoned cars sat with their doors hanging open. There was no crowd in the middle of Seoul. There was only silence and the wind. He walked 2 blocks and found a store with shattered glass. The shelves were half-picked and covered in thick dust. He could not find a single person. All the teller machines and bus stop screens were dead. He looked up and saw a single faded plane trail. He wondered what had happened to the city. Suddenly, something roared behind him. He turned and saw a creature the size of a delivery truck. It was wolf-shaped, with extra joints and extra teeth. Its eyes glowed and its coat was matted and black. This was a monster on Earth in the middle of Seoul. The wolf thing leaped toward him. Kim Mun reached for his dark magic to fire a bolt. Nothing happened. His dark magic was locked as if it were switched off. The wolf thing was now 6 feet away. He decided to do things the old way. The monster lunged with its wide jaws. Kim Mun sidestepped and grabbed the creature by the neck. He used its momentum to slam it into the asphalt. The road cracked and the wolf yelped. He kicked the monster in the jaw. The head of the creature snapped sideways and teeth popped out. The wolf growled with fear in its voice. Kim Mun stepped into the next charge. He drove a full-body strike into its chest. The monster flew 20 feet and hit a delivery van. He grabbed a jagged strip of steel from a busted bumper. He drove the metal through the skull of the wolf. He stood up and noted that his arms still worked. Then he heard the sound of boots. A train squad was moving fast in formation. He turned around slowly to face a squad of soldiers. They had modern rifles with weird glowing runes on the barrels. 8 soldiers aimed their weapons at his chest. A corporal named Son Eno stood in the middle. He studied Kim Mun carefully. One young soldier looked at the dead wolf in shock. Choi told him to put his hands up slowly. Kim Mun held up his hands and said it was no problem. Choi asked if he was injured or if he killed the wolf. Kim Mun scratched his head and admitted he did. The soldiers whispered to each other in surprise. Choi realized there was no mana residue in the air. He asked if Kim Mun was part of a hunter guild. Kim Mun said he did not know what a guild was. The squad tensed at his answer. Finally, the corporal asked for his name and identification. Kim Mun said his name and explained his identification was likely at home. That answer landed in a stranger way than Kim Mun realized. Corporal Choi narrowed his eyes slightly. He asked if Kim Mun still had a home. Kim Mun shrugged his shoulders helplessly. He explained that he had been away for a while. Choi asked how long he had been gone. Kim Mun hesitated as he performed the mental math. He knew he should not have done that. His plan was to keep his mouth shut and blend in. He wanted to figure out the situation and rejoin society quietly. Kim Mun was only 30 seconds into his first conversation. He was about to say the most ridiculous sentence possible. He said it anyway. He told the corporal it had been 2 years. Every rifle in the squad shifted upward by half an inch. Choi repeated the words 2 years flatly. Kim Mun replied that it was 2 years, give or take. Choi asked where Kim Mun had been for that time. Kim Mun opened his mouth and then closed it. He could not explain the truth about the other dimension. He could not mention being tortured into a weapon by a goddess. Instead, Kim Mun claimed he had been camping. A beautiful silence followed his statement. One of the younger soldiers snorted before catching himself. Choi did not laugh. Choi remained completely still. This was the reaction of a professional hearing something absurd. He was filing the information away for later. Choi repeated the word camping. Kim Mun added that it was very remote camping. Choi noted the duration was 2 years. Kim Mun remarked that time flies. Choi stared at him for a long moment. Then, he slowly lowered his rifle. He held up one hand as a signal to his squad. The soldiers lowered their weapons but did not relax. Their instincts told them something was wrong. The calm man had explained a 2-year absence with the word camping. Choi asked if Kim Mun knew what year it was. Kim Mun hesitated again. He knew exactly 2 years had passed. However, time in the realm of Isgard was strange. The days were shorter and there were extra moons. He stopped tracking time after the 4th month. Kim Mun stated a year. Choi did not correct him. He simply said the guess was close. This response was scarier than a correction. Choi carefully asked if Kim Mun knew about the gates. Kim Mun asked if he meant the ones at the airport. The same young soldier made a strangled sound and turned away. Choi clarified that he did not mean airport gates. He asked if Kim Mun knew what a hunter was. Kim Mun asked if he meant hunters of deer. Choi's voice dropped half a step in tone. Choi asked if Kim Mun knew what happened in the city of Busan. Kim Mun stared at him with a dry mouth. He repeated the question about Busan. The two men looked at each other for a long moment. Then the corporal exhaled. Choi slung his rifle over his shoulder. He told Kim Mun that he had better come with the squad. These words were about to ruin the afternoon. 10 minutes later, Kim Mun sat in a modified military transport. The truck looked like it had extra armor welded onto it. The windows were reinforced. Runes were carved into the doors. These were the same markings he saw on the rifles. The Korean military had clearly worked with someone who knew magic. This idea would have sounded insane 3 years ago. Now the existence of magic barely registered. Corporal Choi sat in the front with the driver. 2 younger soldiers sat in the back with Kim Mun. They tried not to stare but failed. Every time Kim Mun moved, one of the soldiers flinched. Kim Mun tried to scratch his nose earlier. He thought the soldier on the left would fire his weapon. Eventually, Kim Mun asked someone to catch him up on events. The 2 soldiers looked at each other. The young soldier named Park cleared his throat. Park asked if Kim Mun seriously did not know. Kim Mun repeated that he was camping deep in the woods. Park looked toward the front of the vehicle. Choi gave a small nod to allow the conversation. Park exhaled and began to explain. About 22 months ago, portals began to open. The soldiers called these rifts gates. They were big, glowing rifts in reality. These gates appeared all over the world. Nobody knew what they were at first. Kim Mun felt his stomach drop. He knew exactly what portals in reality looked like. He had carved one only 2 hours ago. Park continued that monsters began coming out of the rifts. At first, the monsters were only the size of dogs. People thought it was a hoax. Then, the first big gate opened in Busan. Park stopped and swallowed hard. He mentioned that many people lost family in Busan. Kim Mun became very still. He asked how many people were lost. Park did not answer. An older soldier named Yoon spoke instead. He said 250,000 died in the first week. This was the official number. Unofficially, nobody knew the true count. The southern part of the city was flattened. The military did not understand the threat. Standard bullets and tanks barely worked. They tried everything they could. Then, some regular people began to change. Yoon called this process awakening. The gates started rewriting the biology of some people. These individuals gained powers, magic, and levels. Kim Mun's brain ground to a halt. He repeated the word levels. Yoon compared it to a video game. Awakeners became stronger by killing monsters. The system had tiers and ranks from E to S. S-rank hunters were living weapons. There were only 11 S-rank hunters in the country. Kim Mun asked about the people who were not awakened. Park and Yoon shared a look. Park said it depended on the location. If a gate opened nearby, help might not arrive in time. Kim Mun leaned back against the reinforced wall. His vision of home had changed. He had pictured his old apartment and convenience store. Instead, the reality involved rubble and monsters in the streets. People he knew might no longer exist. He asked about the status of the Yeongdeung-po district. Park winced and said the district was mostly still there. A mid-sized gate opened near the river last spring. An A-rank team arrived after a third of the neighborhood was destroyed. Kim Mun stared at the ceiling. He thought about the last 2 years. He was being stabbed and starved in another world. At the same time, his own world suffered through a similar ordeal. Nobody had told either side of the struggle. The home he fought for was dying without him. The goddess did not just take him from his life. She took him when the world needed him most. Kim Mun was not smiling or angry. He was just very quiet. This was a dangerous kind of silence. Yoon noticed the change and nudged Park to be quiet. Choi spoke from the front of the truck. He mentioned that Kim Mun claimed not to know about hunters. Yet, Kim Mun killed a rank D monster with his bare hands. Kim Mun asked if the creature was a rank D. Choi looked over his shoulder with a calculating expression. He stated that Kim Mun must be an awakener. No unawakened person could kill a rank D monster empty-handed. It was not physically possible. Kim Mun considered his answer carefully. He did not want to reveal his true identity. He was a dark mage from another world. He had defeated an apocalypse and betrayed a goddess. He wanted to appear normal. He claimed he did many pull-ups. The younger soldier turned away and coughed into his fist. He coughed so hard he might have pulled a muscle. Choi did not smile. However, there was a faint twitch at the corner of his mouth. He decided the strange man was not an immediate threat. Kim Mun had saved the squad from a headache by killing the wolf. Choi was willing to accept that victory. He told Kim Mun they would bring him in. He would not be a prisoner. Instead, he would be a potential recruit. The military could help Kim Mun find his family and friends. In exchange, Kim Mun would need to answer questions carefully. If he checked out, they would discuss the academy. Kim Mun asked about the academy. Choi explained it was the Korean Combat Academy. This was where hunters received training. The military ran entrance exams every year. The best recruits became licensed awakeners. Choi looked at Kim Mun through the rearview mirror. He said that Kim Mun would likely pass the exam. Kim Mun looked out the window. The city scrolled past them. It was not the city he remembered. Buildings were missing sections. Streets had barricades in strange places. Runes were painted on the walls in red. Kim Mun recognized them as monster wards. He had seen similar markings in the border towns of Isgard. There were pockets of destruction everywhere. Between the ruins, ordinary people continued their lives. People walked their dogs and children played. A grandmother argued about the price of pears. Life continued on top of the rubble. Kim Mun thought about his leaky faucet and the convenience store. He thought about the goddess and her patient smile. He remembered failing to cast a spell earlier. Slowly, one corner of his mouth lifted. He had returned to a broken world. He could work with a broken world. His dark magic was locked, but that was a solvable problem. His body and instincts still worked. He had just proved his strength against a rank D wolf. The world needed hunters, and he was one. Kim Mun spoke to the corporal. He asked when the next academy entrance exam would take place. Choi studied him in the mirror for a long moment. He said the exam was in 6 weeks. Kim Mun told him to sign him up. Park choked on the air. Yoon looked at Kim Mun with total disbelief. Even Choi blinked in surprise. He explained that the exam was one of the hardest tests in the country. Awakeners trained their whole lives for it. Many of them still failed. He asked if Kim Mun wanted to just walk in. Kim Mun confirmed he did. Choi asked if he intended to prepare in only 6 weeks. Kim Mun confirmed this as well. Choi noted that this was after 2 years of camping. Kim Mun clarified it was very intense camping. Choi and Yoon shared a look. They would have a long conversation during the debriefing. Choi nodded and agreed to get him a slot. However, he warned Kim Mun about the competition. Every other person would have years of training. The other candidates would have abilities, gear, and sponsors. Kim Mun would just be a guy who did pull-ups. Kim Mun smiled slightly. It was a small and tired smile. He said he would figure it out. The truck continued toward the military base. The intake process took 4 hours. They asked him everything. They asked where he had been and who he was. They questioned his family history and his medical records. They asked when he last ate. They checked for glowing tattoos or nightmares. They listened for voices in his head. They asked about anything he could remember from the last 2 years. He gave them a simple answer. He claimed he had been camping in a remote area with poor reception. To their credit, they did not push him too hard. They simply logged his responses. Halfway through the interview, Kim Mun realized their assumptions. They believed he was a trauma case. They thought he might have survived a collapsed shelter. They assumed he could not emotionally handle the truth yet. Kim Mun decided to accept that cover. It was not far from the truth. They ran him through a scanner. Kim Mun tensed his muscles. He worried the scanner would detect the dark magic inside him. He felt it sitting there like a sleeping ocean. He feared things would get complicated very fast. However, the scanner beeped normally. Kim Mun blinked in surprise. The technician also looked confused. She frowned and checked the reading. She hit the machine and tried again. The result remained the same. The technician noted that his mana signature was extremely low. She said it was almost at a baseline level. She explained this was normal for an unawakened person. Kim Mun asked if that was a bad sign. The technician said it depended on his goals. She mentioned he should not be able to fight monsters. However, she acknowledged that he had already done so. She moved on and noted his physical statistics. She called them excellent and off the charts. She asked about his training regimen. Kim Mun claimed he did a lot of cardio. She wrote this down in her notes. 1 hour later, Kim Mun was alone in a quiet room. He stared at his palm and tried to use his power. He sought the tiniest wisp of dark energy. He wanted a small version of the tidal wave he once commanded. Nothing happened. The power was not blocked or sealed. It was simply quiet. He could feel the dark magic inside him. It felt like a sleeping animal pressed against his ribs. He tried to give a command. The animal did not wake up. It just breathed deep and slow while ignoring him. His power was locked down. He remembered the small smile of the goddess. He saw that smile as her ritual started. He saw it even after he escaped. He had been sure that he beat her. He stepped through his portal before the spell could latch on. At least, that was what he thought. Now he sat alone in a Korean military intake room. He stared at a hand that would not flicker. Kim Mun realized something cold and quiet. The goddess had managed to cast a piece of the spell. It was not the full stripping ritual. It was a last-second latch. A single hook had followed him through the portal. She could not take his power. However, she could put it to sleep. Somewhere in her temple, she was sitting on her throne. She was being patient and waiting for something. He did not know her plan yet. He intended to find out. He closed his hand into a fist. The animal inside his chest did not stir. He did not need it awake to break the exam crystal. He did not need it to outrun Son Eno. He did not need magic to defeat an instructor. He was not just a dark mage. He had never been just one thing. 2 years in Isgard had built his magic and his body. He brought back his muscle, bone, and reflexes. Every part of him was wide awake and ready. He had 6 weeks until the academy exam. That was plenty of time. The door to the room opened. Corporal Choi stepped in with a tablet. He told Kim Mun that he was cleared provisionally. He asked Kim Mun to stay on the base for a few weeks. The military would provide food and housing. Kim Mun agreed to the arrangement. Choi mentioned someone he wanted Kim Mun to meet. This person would run the physical exams this year. Choi tapped on his tablet. He described her as the daughter of a general. She was at the top of the prep rankings. She was favored to break the entrance record. Her name was Son Eno. Kim Mun noted the name. Choi asked if he had heard of her. Kim Mun said he had never heard of her. Choi laughed and said he would soon. He handed Kim Mun a paper guest wristband and turned to leave. Kim Mun called out to the corporal. He asked how many gates opened in a normal week. Choi said it depended. He estimated 40 or 50 gates opened across the country. He said hunters closed half of them before anyone died. Kim Mun asked about the other half. Choi did not answer. Kim Mun nodded slowly to himself. Choi studied him for a moment before leaving. The door clicked shut. Kim Mun sat alone with his sleeping magic. He started to plan with his very awake body. 6 weeks later, a red testing crystal exploded into dust. Kim Mun had used a single lazy punch. An examiner dropped his pen. A girl named Son Eno stared at the shattered crystal. Her whole worldview seemed to break with it. Many people already knew that part of the story. However, there was a secret detail. A figure stood very still on a viewing balcony. They were not part of the military or the staff. This person wore a hood that hid their face. They watched Kim Mun destroy the crystal. They watched him break the sprint record. They watched him bend the grip bar into a horseshoe. They watched him defeat the sparring instructor with 2 taps. Under the hood, a small smile appeared. It was the same smile Kim Mun saw on the goddess. Something of hers was now here. She was very patient. Back on the exam field, the dust settled. The scoreboard was fried from the results. 6 events were finished. Kim Mun was at the top of every column. The display could not properly render the numbers. One of the digits flickered as the software struggled. Son Eno had not moved. She stood by the sparring ring. Her hands were curled into fists at her sides. She was 20 years old. She had always been the best at everything. She believed that talent and work would lead to success. She had worked obsessively since the age of 6. Today was supposed to be her coronation. She expected a perfect exam and recruitment offers. Instead, the front page would show a pile of red dust. It would feature a mystery man in generic clothes. This man had treated every event as a mild inconvenience. Son Eno took a step toward him. The whispering in the crowd stopped. The examiners paused their work. Kim Mun finished cracking his neck. He saw her coming toward him. His face showed a complicated expression. Son Eno demanded to know who he was. Kim Mun told her his name. She said she already knew his name. She asked again who he was. Kim Mun simply shrugged. He said he was just a guy who signed up. He said they were the same. Son Eno glared at him with great intensity. She hissed that he did not even try. Kim Mun claimed that he did try. She pointed out that he yawned during the sprint. Kim Mun called it a stretch. Corporal Choi In-ho watched the scene from the side. He thought it was the best show of the year. Son Eno took a breath and recomposed herself. She was a professional and a general's daughter. She would not lose her cool here. She congratulated him on the best score in a decade. However, she told him this was only a physical exam. She said the academy was a war school. She mentioned simulations and mana theory. She said staying in the school was different from getting in. Kim Mun simply said that was cool. This response made her stare at him. Kim Mun said he was not trying to embarrass her. He explained that he only needed to pass. He said they would see how the future went. Then he walked away. He did not even wait for a response. Son Eno watched his back as he exited. She turned to the nearest examiner. Her voice was as calm as a knife. She demanded to be placed in his squad. The examiner looked at his clipboard. He looked at her father on the balcony. The general nodded once to give his approval. The examiner agreed to the request. This became the second problem for Kim Mun. The first problem was still sitting under a hood. 20 minutes later, Kim Mun stood in a marble hallway. He held a folder full of paperwork. It contained information about squad assignments and dormitories. He also received a stipend. This was helpful because he had no money. Corporal Choi walked up to him. Choi congratulated the new cadet. Kim Mun thought the title sounded weird. Choi said his squad assignment came through fast. He suspected someone had pulled strings. Kim Mun was assigned to Squad 9. The team had 4 cadets and 1 senior mentor. It was a hunter track team for simulations and gate operations. Choi showed him the tablet. The team leader was Kang Do-ha. The scout was Han Yerin. The support member was Son Eno. Kim Mun realized she was on his team. Choi said she had demanded the spot. He explained that she would report to the team leader. Kim Mun asked about Kang Do-ha. Choi became serious. He said Do-ha was a 4th-year cadet from the Kang family. He advised Kim Mun to be very polite. Choi explained that the family was very powerful. 3 of them were S-rank hunters. They decided which guilds got the best recruits. Do-ha was the youngest son and was 22 years old. He was a B-rank awakener with a fire affinity. He had been trained since he could walk. Choi called him a prick. Kim Mun accepted this information. Choi said the first meeting was in 1 hour. He recommended that Kim Mun eat first. He said Kim Mun would be too irritated to eat later. Choi walked away. Kim Mun stared at the folder in his hand. He thought about his new team leader. Kim Mun already knew how this would go. A small part of him was smiling. He was ready for the challenge. The lounge was on the 12th floor. The room is in a tower. It has the kind of view that costs money. Floor-to-ceiling windows look out over the city. Glass tables fill the space. A vending machine stands in the corner. It is full of energy drinks. The drinks have names like Mana Burst and Awakened Apple. This was a bold marketing decision. Kim Mun walks into the room. He wears a cheap gray tracksuit from the academy. He still has the paper wristband from the base. He looks like a lost janitor. 3 people are already in the lounge. Son Eno stands by the window with her arms crossed. A tall guy in a leather jacket lounges in the biggest chair. This is Kang Do-ha. He looks like he owns the place. Han Yerin sits on the arm of a couch. She is a small and nervous girl with brown hair. She wears a cadet uniform and hides behind a tablet. She is the scout for the team. She peeks up when Kim Mun walks in. Her face turns bright red immediately. Yerin whispers in a worried tone. She recognizes Kim Mun. He stops and greets her. Yerin speaks his name and hers very quickly. Then she hides behind the tablet again. Kim Mun says it is nice to meet her. Kang Do-ha does not get up or turn his head. He stays focused on his phone. He extends one lazy hand and snaps his fingers. He calls out a greeting. Kim Mun waits. Do-ha continues to ignore him. 10 full seconds pass. Do-ha finally acknowledges Kim Mun while still scrolling. Kim Mun confirms his identity. Do-ha tells him to sit down. Kim Mun does not sit. He stands calmly in the middle of the room. Yerin watches from behind her tablet. She makes a small squeaking noise. Do-ha looks up once before returning to his phone. He asks if Kim Mun heard him. Kim Mun confirms that he heard the instruction. Do-ha repeats the order to sit. Kim Mun replies that he is fine standing. A brief silence follows. Do-ha lowers the phone. He places it face down on the glass table. He rests his hands on his knees. Then he looks at Kim Mun properly. Do-ha has a very handsome face. It is symmetrical and well-groomed. He looks like someone who has never been told no. His eyes are a bright amber shade. This indicates he is a fire affinity awakener. He aims a small smile at Kim Mun. The smile is cold and unfriendly. Do-ha speaks pleasantly to Kim Mun. He explains that this squad has been his project for 1 year. Every member was hand-picked. Every training schedule was carefully planned. The team was on track to be the top-ranked hunters. Then an unknown person appeared at the last minute. This person broke a crystal. The academy placed him on the squad. Do-ha taps his knee. He asks if Kim Mun understands his position. Kim Mun agrees. Do-ha states the first rule. When the team leader gives an order, the member must obey. Kim Mun repeats that he is fine. Do-ha does not stop smiling. His eyes grow darker. He mentions that breaking a training crystal is not impressive. His family has broken much larger crystals for fun. Do-ha asks if Kim Mun knows the difference between strength and being an awakener. Kim Mun asks to be enlightened. Do-ha holds up one finger. A tiny flame appears on the tip. He rolls it across his knuckles. Do-ha says the difference is mana. He acknowledges that Kim Mun is strong. However, he calls him a confused normal guy. Do-ha mentions that he read the student file. Kim Mun has baseline mana and 0 affinity. He has no awakener signature. This makes him the first cadet in academy history without powers. He will have to survive gate operations with only physical strength. Son Eno makes a small sound from across the room. It might be a laugh or a cough. Kim Mun does not look at her. Do-ha continues rolling the flame. He offers a deal. Kim Mun must keep his head down and follow orders. Do-ha and Son Eno will do the real work. Kim Mun will only carry the equipment. In exchange, Do-ha will help him graduate. He asks if they have a deal. Yerin disappears behind her tablet. Only her hair is visible. Kim Mun looks at the small flame. Then he looks at Kang Do-ha. He suggests a different plan in a mild voice. He walks slowly toward the glass table. Do-ha keeps smiling but watches him closely. Kim Mun leans down. He puts one finger in the middle of the flame. The The flame goes out instantly. It was not blown out or smothered, it simply vanished. It looked like he flicked a power switch. Do-ha stops smiling. Kim Mun straightens up. He dusts his finger on his tracksuit. He suggests they talk like equals. They should do the drills together. The person who is best at a task should lead. He asks if this sounds fair to the team leader. Do-ha stares at his own hand. He tries to summon the flame again. Nothing happens. He tries a second time with no result. His face shows many emotions quickly. Finally, his expression turns cold. Yerin peeks from behind her tablet. She looks like she is watching a car crash. Son Eno is no longer bored. She looks at Kim Mun with great surprise. Snuffing a small flame is a simple task. However, canceling an active mana channel is very different. This skill usually requires years of anti-mage training. It is a specific technique and doctrine. Kim Mun performed the move easily. He once spent a summer in Isgard training against pyromancers. These mages could destroy entire towns. The first step was learning to shut off their power. No one asks him about his training. Everyone simply stares in silence. Do-ha slowly puts his phone away. He stands up. He is a few inches taller than Kim Mun. He tries to look intimidating. Do-ha says that the action was rude. Kim Mun agrees. He adds that calling him an equipment carrier was also rude. Do-ha looks annoyed. He says they will have a great time in Squad 9. The first training session is tomorrow at 6 in the morning. They will meet at Field 2. He warns Kim Mun not to be late. Kim Mun says he will be there. Do-ha walks past him. He hits Kim Mun with his shoulder. Kim Mun has spent 2 years dodging dangerous creatures. He does not move an inch. Do-ha bounces off him like he hit a wall. Do-ha does not react. He continues walking out the door. Silence fills the room. Yerin slowly lowers her tablet. She says that he should not have done that. Kim Mun admits she is probably right. Yerin warns him that tomorrow will be very difficult. Kim Mun agrees again. Yerin adds that the move was very cool. Kim Mun grins and thanks her. She turns bright red and hides again. Son Eno has not moved from the window. She watches him with her arms folded. Her expression is hard to read. Kim Mun looks at her. They share a long and heavy silence. Finally, she asks where he learned that technique. He claims he learned it while camping. She says his name in disbelief. He insists it was very rugged camping. She does not laugh or smile. She keeps looking at him. Her face shows something new. It is no longer just wounded pride. She is now curious. Kim Mun thinks this is more dangerous. Son Eno says she will see him at 6 in the morning. She moves away from the window and walks past him. She does not try to hit him. She does not even look at him. She leaves the lounge with calm composure. She seems to have a new focus for her rivalry. Yerin waits for her to leave. Then she hops off the couch and runs over. She calls him senior. Kim Mun tells her that is not necessary since he is new. Yerin asks for a favor. She expects Do-ha to do something horrible tomorrow. She asks if she can record it on her tablet. She wants to share it in the group chat. Kim Mun looks down at her. He gives her permission to record the event. Yerin looks very happy. She gives him a formal salute. Then she runs out of the lounge while clutching her tablet. Kim Mun stands alone for a moment. He looks at his finger. This is the finger that canceled the flame. The tip feels slightly warm. Deep inside his chest, something has been sleeping. It twitches once and then becomes still again. He stares at his hand for a long time. He makes a soft sound of surprise to himself. It is 6 in the morning at Field 2. The air is cold enough to see breath. Dew covers the grass. The sky is a pale gray and blue color. The sun has not yet risen over the academy. Squad 9 is assembled. Kang Do-ha wears an expensive designer tracksuit. Son Eno wears the standard academy uniform. Her hair is up and her face is flat. Yerin wears 4 layers of clothing. She clutches a steaming thermos. Kim Mun wears the same cheap gray tracksuit. He only owns one outfit. Their mentor is a stocky woman in her 40s. She has a scar across her chin. She looks very strong. Her name tag identifies her as Instructor John. She looks tired as she watches the group. She welcomes Squad 9 to a difficult day. The first simulation begins in 1 hour. First, they will perform a warm-up drill. She tells team leader Do-ha to begin. Do-ha gives a cold smile. He explains the simple drill. It is an endurance run around the perimeter track. They must complete 10 laps while wearing weighted vests. The squad time depends on the slowest member. He says the team is only as fast as the weakest link. He looks briefly at Kim Mun. He points to a pile of vests. Kim Mun walks to the pile and picks up a vest. It weighs about 20 kilograms. Steel plates are sewn into the fabric. It is standard training gear. He puts the vest on. Doha smiles even wider. He says that is only a cadet vest. Older students wear a different kind. He tosses another vest at Kim Mun. Kim Mun catches it with one hand. This new vest is double the weight. It weighs 50 kilograms. This gear is meant for high-level conditioning. Doha says this is the real vest. He wants Kim Mun to wear it as a team player. Yerin makes a horrified noise. Instructor Jaeon starts to speak. She likely wanted to mention regulations for first-year students. However, Kim Mun simply shrugs. He takes off the first vest and puts on the heavy one. He adjusts the straps. He agrees to the challenge. Doha stares in disbelief. He asks if Kim Mun knows the vest weighs 50 kilograms. Kim Mun says the weight feels correct. Doha reminds him they are running 10 laps. He mentions the track is 1 kilometer long. Kim Mun says that is fine. Doha looks frustrated. Instructor Jaeon sighs and says nothing. She decides this will be a learning experience. Her only job is to ensure everyone stays safe. She raises her hand to start. The 4 cadets line up on the track. The instructor counts down from 3. Doha rolls his shoulders. Small flames flicker on his knuckles. This is a mana boost for extra speed. The instructor says 2. Son Eno crouches into a starting stance. Yerin bounces on her feet. The instructor says 1. Kim Mun stands there in a relaxed way. The 50-kilogram vest looks light on him. The instructor tells them to go. The race begins and Doha bolts forward. He is very fast because of his fire mana. He runs like a professional athlete. Son Eno follows him with perfect form. Yerin is in 4th place and works hard. Kim Mun simply jogs. He looks like he is on a lazy Sunday run. He is jogging with 50 kilograms on his back. By the second lap, he catches up to Yerin. He greets her. Yerin struggles to respond while running. Kim Mun jokingly asks if she wants to carry the vest. Yerin is confused. He tells her he is only kidding. He encourages her to keep going because she is doing great. He glides past her. She stares after him for one dumbfounded second. Then, she digs deeper into her stride. She is not going to be the reason her squad loses. By lap 4, he has caught up to Son Eno. She sees him coming out of the corner of her eye. Her face does not change. Her pace, however, quietly ticks up. Kim Mun matches her speed. He passes her. She digs in. He pulls ahead anyway. It is not that Kim Mun is sprinting. He simply does not seem to care about the vest. Every stride is the same as the last. He is metronome steady. He is not out of breath. He is not straining. He is just running. By lap 6, he has caught up to Doha. This is where the fun begins. Doha hears him coming. He turns his head. He sees him. Kang Doha has an expensively symmetrical face. It does something that will haunt Han Yerin's recordings for her entire career. He does the little twitch of a rich kid. He realized a poor kid is about to beat him at his own sport. Doha's knuckles flare. He uses a full mana burst. Flames curl up his forearms. He accelerates with his fire affinity kick to 11. He blows down the straightaway like a shot. Kim Mun's expression does not change. He just extends his stride a little. He pulls even. Doha pushes harder. Flames climb up to his shoulders. He is now running as fast as a B-rank hunter can run. He is at his ceiling on a track. Kim Mun stays even with him for 3 strides. He turns his head. He gives Doha a friendly, casual nod. Then, Kim Mun walks away from him. It is not a run. It just looks like a walk from Doha's angle. He effortlessly gaps him by 10 meters. Then, the gap grows to 20 meters. By lap 6 of 10, he is 30 meters ahead. He carries 50 kilograms of steel strapped to his chest. Doha is red-faced and out of breath. He is out of mana. He watches Kim Mun's back get smaller. Instructor Jaeon quietly puts her stopwatch down. She folds her arms on the sidelines. She has seen many prodigies at this academy. Now, she is about to see a new category. Kim Mun laps Doha once. Then, he laps him again. Then, he does it a 3rd time. Yerin is on lap 7 and is about to cry from pride. Son Eno is on lap 8. Son Eno has stopped racing anyone but herself. She runs with a look of hard calculation on her face. She is not trying to beat Kim Mun anymore. She is studying him. She watches how his feet land and how he breathes. Kim Mun finishes 10 laps. He sits down on the grass by the finish line. He is not even sweating. He undoes the vest. It drops in the grass with a heavy thump that makes the ground shudder. Do-ha crosses the line 4 minutes later. He is bent double. His fire is gone. His hair is stuck to his forehead. He glares at Kim Mun with intense hatred. Son Eno finishes 20 seconds after him. She jogs to a stop. Immediately, she walks over to Kim Mun. She stands over him. She asks him what he is. Kim Mun calls her a camper. Then, he calls her the general's daughter. She demands that he answer the question. He looks up at her. She is blocking the sunrise. The light behind her hair creates an annoying halo. He does not notice her flat glare cracking. It looks less angry and more openly baffled. He quietly says that he might tell her one day. She holds his gaze for a long moment. Then, unexpectedly, she extends a hand down to him. She tells him to get up. The simulation is in 20 minutes. She says he must prove he can fight with a team. He cannot just run away from one. He takes her hand. She hauls him up like he weighs nothing. Something in his chest twitches again when their palms make contact. It is just a flicker. It is so small he almost misses it. His sleeping magic is stirring. He does not say anything about the feeling. Son Eno lets go and turns away. His eyes narrow a little. He has felt 2 twitches in 24 hours. Both times, something charged happened. The first time happened when he canceled Do-ha's flame. The second time just occurred. He finds this interesting. Meanwhile, a hooded figure watches from a 12-floor balcony. The figure has watched the entire endurance drill without moving. She lowers her hood. She is beautiful in a way that is not quite human. Her skin is too pale, her eyes are a shade of gold. She looks like a woman in her 30s. However, nobody looks too closely. Her mana signature is very smooth and quiet. Every awakener on the campus ignores her. She is not the goddess, but she has the goddess's smile. She is an avatar and a vessel. She is a piece of the most patient predator from Isgard. She walked into Earth through a crack in reality. She quietly took a job at the academy 6 weeks ago. Nobody questions her presence. She is a recruitment liaison. She has been waiting. She watches Kim Mun stand up. She watches Son Eno pull him to his feet. A tiny flicker of dark energy pulses across his sternum. No awakener on the field notices it. She notices. Her smile widens by a fraction of a millimeter. She whispers that she found him. She speaks in a language nobody on Earth knows. Then, she pulls the hood back up. The second phase of her plan has started. Kim Mun does not know it yet. His dark magic is waking up on its own timeline. She has all the time in the world to help. When the magic wakes up, she will be ready. The goddess in Isgard does not want him dead. She never did. She wants him back. Earth has chewed him up for a few years. He is softened up now. He might even walk into the portal himself. The avatar smiles again. Down on field 2, Kim Mun brushes grass off his tracksuit. He cracks his neck. He walks toward the simulation building with Squad 9. Yeren is bouncing next to him. She shows him her tablet recording. Son Eno walks a step ahead. She pretends not to look back. Do-ha is trailing behind them. He is plotting something ugly. Kim Mun does not know he is being watched. He betrayed a goddess, and her avatar is near. He does not know his magic is stirring. He does not know his future. 6 months from now, he will be in a collapsed gate. A friend will be bleeding at his feet. He will have a choice to make. That choice will save Seoul or end his cover. Right now, he only cares about the simulation. It starts in 20 minutes. He knows Kang Do-ha will try something during it. Kim Mun grins to himself because he is ready. The simulation building is a big concrete cube. It is on the north end of campus. From the outside, it looks like a warehouse. Inside, it is something else entirely. Squad 9 walks through the airlock doors. They enter a room the size of a soccer stadium. The ceiling is 100 meters up. Runic lattices hum with a low blue light. The floor is bare gray. It smells faintly of ozone. Instructor Jaeon is already inside. She stands next to a raised control platform. A technician works at a holographic interface. Instructor John addresses Squad 9. This is their first simulation. It is a Rank F environment with Rank F monsters. The objective is to clear the field. She warns them that simulated injuries stop the session. She tells them to avoid real injuries. The squad understands. Team leader Doha prepares the formation. Doha is still sweating from the run. He straightens up. Endurance was a bad round for him. This combat simulation is his round. His entire life has been combat training. He chooses a standard diamond formation. He will take the point position. Son Eno will be on his right. Han Yeren will scout the rear. Kim Moon is assigned to back support. Doha gives a nasty smile. He tells Kim Moon to cover the rear. He says that if Yeren sees something, Kim Moon must deal with it. Kim Moon asks what back support means. Doha says it means staying in the back and touching nothing. Kim Moon thinks that is cool. Yeren whispers that Doha is setting him up. She says he will route everything to Kim Moon. Kim Moon says he knows. Yeren asks why he is letting it happen. He says it is more fun that way. Yeren makes a distressed noise and checks her tablet. Instructor John calls for positions. The squad spreads out. The technician taps his console. Runic lattices in the ceiling glow brighter. The gray floor shimmers. The room transforms into a forest. It is not a projection. The runes conjure actual matter out of mana. Tall pines rise up with dew on their needles. Grass grows under their boots. A cool wind blows through the trees. Somewhere far off, a bird makes a nervous noise. Kim Moon is impressed. Earth has come a long way in 2 years. The technician announces that the environment is loaded. Hostiles are incoming. The simulation is now engaged. Something growls deep in the trees. Doha's amber eyes spark with fire mana. He orders the diamond formation to move out. Yeren is a genuinely good scout. Her mana affinity is perception. She feels movement in a wide radius. Her tablet lights up with red dots. She calls out 2 goblins 40 meters to the northeast. Doha tells her to watch him work. He surges forward with fire trailing his hands. 2 goblins pop out of a bush. Doha vaporizes them with fire darts. The throw is technically sharp and theatrical. Doha tells Kim Moon to take notes on a real mana user. Kim Moon says it is impressive. Son Eno does not comment. She just glances at Kim Moon. They keep moving. Yeren's tablet pings. She reports a larger contact in the rear. Kim Moon feels it too. His old instincts are kicking in. Something big is behind them. It is not an F-rank creature. Doha asks for the position. Yeren says it is 15 meters behind them and coming fast. Doha does not turn around. He keeps walking forward. He tells Kim Moon to handle the rear support. Kim Moon asks what he should use to fight. Doha tells him to use his fists or feet. He claims it should only be an F-rank hostile. Yeren's tablet shows something different. She does not have a category for it. Doha orders Yeren to confirm it is an F-rank hostile. Yeren freezes. She is a first-year cadet. Doha is her leader. She hesitates for 3 seconds. Finally, she confirms the hostile is F-rank. Kim Moon turns around. A boar comes out of the trees. It is the size of a small car. The boar has tusks as long as an arm. Its eyes have a strange glow. It is the same glow as the wolf from the street. The boar charges fast. That was not an F-rank boar. It was at least a D rank or possibly a low C rank. Squad 9 was not remotely ready for this on paper. This kind of monster required a full squad of licensed hunters. It did not belong in a first-day training simulation. Kang Doha ordered Kim Moon to handle the beast alone. Instructor Jaeon leaned forward on the control platform. Her hand moved halfway toward the emergency stop button. However, the technician tapped her arm to stop her. She paused and watched. Instructor Jaeon was a professional. She kept one eye trained specifically on Kim Moon. Kim Moon did not back away from the threat. He did not even brace himself for the impact. Instead, he was smiling. The boar reached point-blank charge distance. Kim Moon stepped to the side with a quick and small movement. There was no wasted motion in his actions. He grabbed one of the tusks as the animal went past him. His shoulders should have dislocated from the force. His feet should have been dragged across the ground. Neither of those things happened. He planted his feet and twisted his hips. He hauled the boar sideways with a full-body throw. The 2-ton animal lifted completely off the ground. He slammed the creature into a tree. The conjured tree snapped instantly. The dazed boar hit the ground on its side. Kim Moon was already on top of the beast. He drove one knee into the base of its neck. He pinned the monster down and grabbed the second tusk with both hands. He gave the tusk a powerful crank. A wet crack echoed through the area. The boar stopped moving immediately. The entire fight lasted only 6 seconds from start to finish. The clearing became completely silent. Doha stopped walking and turned around. His mouth was slightly open in shock. Yeren forgot to breathe while she watched. Son Eno looked at Kim Mun with a focused expression. The body of the boar flickered and dissolved. It turned into blue mana particles as the simulation registered the kill. Instructor Jaeon spoke calmly over the speakers. She stated that the monster was not an F rank. Kim Mun agreed with her assessment. John called for team leader Kang. Doha snapped to attention and acknowledged her. She demanded an explanation for the situation. Doha claimed there was a sensor error. He said Cadet Han misidentified the target. Instructor John spoke in a very level and firm voice. She noted that the tablet was a 50 million Korean won piece of equipment. Such equipment does not misidentify a D rank for an F rank. Doha tried to respond with respect. John interrupted him. She ordered team leader Kang to report to her office after the simulation. She clarified that this was not a request. Doha accepted the command. However, the simulation was not over yet. Yeren's tablet lit up with new information. 2 more D-rank equivalents were converging from the trees. The simulation was escalating on its own. This was likely a safety feature that noticed the previous victory. It decided to test the squad further. Yeren entered scout mode and lost her shyness. She announced 2 more contacts flanking them from the left and right. They were 20 meters away. Doha started to give Kim Mun an order. Instructor John cut him off over the speakers. She told the team leader to handle this rank-appropriate fight. Doha was told to handle one monster. Son Eno would handle the other one. Cadet Han was ordered to spot for both of them. Cadet Kim was told to hold the rear line. This was a precaution in case a third monster appeared. Everyone acknowledged the orders. Doha's face turned red for reasons beyond the simulation. The next 30 seconds showed good squad work. Humiliated by the situation, Doha focused on the task. He was a talented awakener when he stopped posturing. He dropped his monster with a clean fire lance to the throat. Son Eno moved like a dancer with her sword. Her short blade hummed with a pale silver glow from light affinity mana. She cut down her boar in 3 efficient strikes. Her performance was almost boring because it was so effective. She was better than she had shown during the sprint yesterday. Yeren called out the positions and the timing. She also monitored the wind with calm precision. The blushing wreck from yesterday was gone. Yeren became a completely different person in her element. Kim Mun watched everything from the rear and filed the information away. This was his real squad. Doha was a jerk, but possessed real skill. Son Eno had world-class discipline. Yeren was shy, but very sharp. He realized he could work with this team. He started to relax until the trees behind him moved. They did not rustle like normal trees. A tree shifted aside like a curtain. Something walked out of the shadows. It was not a boar or a goblin. It was not an F rank or a D rank monster. The figure was about 3 meters tall and humanoid. It was wrapped in a black cloak. Its face was a smooth and featureless oval of dark stone. Its long and thin hands had 6 fingers. They were wreathed in black smoke. Kim Mun recognized the smoke instantly. He had cast that magic approximately 10,000 times before. That was dark magic from the world of Isgard. It appeared on a simulated monster in a Korean training room. This was not supposed to happen. A cold chill ran down the spine of Kim Mun. Yeren's tablet did not ping. The device did not know how to react. It hissed with static and went black. Yeren started to speak, but Kim Mun told her to get down. She dropped immediately because her scout training took over. Doha and Son Eno spun around. The cloaked figure raised one hand. A ball of black flame formed above its palm. It was the size of a beach ball. This was not simulated mana. Kim Mun could feel its weight and texture. This was real dark energy. Someone had smuggled real Isgardian magic into the academy. Instructor Jaeon shouted from the platform. The technician hammered the emergency stop button. It did not respond to his efforts. The simulation had been hijacked. An override was running under Academy Authority credentials. The safety cutoffs for the room were being ignored. The technician reported that the kill switch was not responding. He stated there was a real hostile in the simulation. John ordered them out. The airlock doors had already locked from the outside. The cloaked figure threw the black flame at Doha. Doha threw a fire lance to meet the attack. This was a good instinct against normal fire, but wrong here. His lance hit the flame and did nothing. The black flame swallowed his lance and kept coming. Doha's eyes went wide with fear. He tried to dive out of the way. He was not fast enough to escape. However, Kim Mun moved across the clearing with incredible speed. His movement was beyond normal human specifications. He put himself between Doha and the black flame. He raised one hand. He slapped the ball of dark energy out of the air. It looked like he was hitting a volleyball. His palm went numb and then felt hot. Under his ribs, a sleeping thing opened one eye. The black flame skittered sideways and hit the ground. It detonated and created a crater the size of a car. The cloaked figure seemed interested. The figure tilted its featureless head. It spoke the name of Kim Mun. The voice was a whisper in the Asgardian temple tongue. This was the private language of the inner priesthood. Kim Mun had heard it for 2 years. The figure told Kim Mun to come home. Yeren was as white as a sheet on the ground. Son Eno held her blade up but did not attack. She felt that something was deeply wrong. Doha stared up at Kim Mun with horror. Doha did not know exactly what he was seeing. However, he knew Kim Mun was not what he claimed to be. Kim Mun stepped forward and said no. The figure claimed that she missed him. Kim Mun disagreed with that statement. The figure promised that she would take the leash off. Kim Mun noted that she was the one who put it on. The figure conjured 2 more balls of black flame. They were larger this time. The figure threatened to bring him back another way. It threw both flames at him. Everything happened in about 4 seconds. Kim Mun stepped in front of Squad 9. He raised both hands. He pulled on the sleeping thing under his ribs. It answered his call for the first time. It was not the tidal wave he used to command. It was just a thin and clean thread of power. But the dark magic was his. He wove the thread across his palms. He caught the 2 black flames in mid-air. His hands closed around the flames like they were candles. He snuffed them out completely. The cloaked figure froze in place. The palms of Kim Mun were smoking. His arms were shaking from the effort. This small sip of magic cost him dearly. It cost more than pulling half of the monsters in Isgard once did. But the magic worked. He told the figure to go back to her. He walked forward. Thin threads of dark energy flickered along his skin. It was a terrifying sight. He told the figure that if she wanted him, she could come herself. The figure lifted its stone face. A small smile appeared on the featureless oval. It was the smile of the goddess worn by a puppet. The figure whispered that there he was. Then the figure dissolved into a swirl of black smoke. It vanished through the ceiling. The forest in the simulation flickered and collapsed. The room became a gray concrete space again. The airlock doors unlocked. Silence filled the room. Instructor John ran down the platform steps. She landed next to Squad 9. Her face was pale. She barked orders into her radio. She called for a campus lockdown and simulation logs. She also requested the general. Yeren was still on her knees. She stared at her dead tablet in disbelief. Son Eno had not moved. Her blade was still up and her eyes were on Kim Mun. Doha was still on his back. He looked at the hands of Kim Mun. The smoke was fading away. The last wisps were clearly not fire or light mana. They were not any of the 11 registered affinities. Doha whispered in a small voice about what he had seen. Kim Mun lowered his hands. He balled his hands into fists. He killed the last of the smoke. He said that it was just camping. His voice had lost all of its humor. Instructor John grabbed him by the shoulder. She ordered him to her office. The office was small and painted a beige color. Instructor John shut and locked the door. She activated a silencing rune under her desk. She did not sit down. She ordered him to show her his hands. He complied. She studied his palms. She touched the center of the right palm and frowned. She noted that the affinity was not on file. She said it was not registered. Then she asked if he was an unregistered awakener or something else. Kim Mun considered her. She was not scared or angry. She was very calm. She had been in the hunter business for a long time. She knew he was not a threat to her. He decided she deserved a straight answer. He told her that he was something else. He explained that he was summoned to another world 2 years ago. He came back 6 weeks ago. He said he was not sure what to call himself. She looked at him for a long moment. Then she sat down. She poured a drink from a small bottle in her desk. She drank the whole thing. She told him that he was the 6th one. Kim Mun was confused. She told him to sit down. He did. She said that he was the 6th returnee in 3 years. She explained that he was the 6th person quietly enrolled at this academy. These people arrived from nowhere with impossible abilities. Their stories did not fit any known gate profile. They called this the return file. It was classified well above his pay grade and hers. In fact, it was about 6 pay grades above that. She exhaled deeply. She told him he would not hide from her. He had to sit in the chair and explain the simulation. He had to explain who it wanted and what he planned to do. That entity was not a training glitch. It was there specifically for him. Kim Mun stared at her. There were 6 other people. These were 6 other returnees. Instructor John avoided using the word Isgard because she did not know it yet. However, 6 other people had returned with strange powers. The Academy had been cataloging them quietly. This meant the gates were not the only leaks between worlds. A network existed that already knew more than they had revealed. Kim Mun realized his cover was transparent from the first day. His stories about camping and exercise did not fool them. They already knew his secret. They enrolled him anyway. The easy welcome from Corporal Choi was not luck. The fast intake and the 6-week window before the exam were planned. The Academy had been waiting for him. He looked at Instructor John. She looked back. In a beige office under fluorescent lights, a different conversation began. He leaned forward. Kim Mun quietly asked where they should begin. She almost smiled. She told the cadet to start at the beginning. She wanted to know who summoned him and what they wanted. She also asked why the entity tried to grab him during the simulation. Somewhere else on campus, a hooded avatar hung her cloak. She was in a small office labeled Recruitment Liaison. No one had come to arrest her. No one had flagged her credentials. Her hijack used a stolen instructor code. It was buried under 5 layers of anonymous routing. It would take technicians weeks to unravel the trail. She did not need weeks. She sat at her desk and opened a drawer. She took out a delicate stone carved like an eye. She turned it in her fingers. Kim Mun used his dark magic today. It was only a small amount. However, he did use it. The lock was loosening. The sleeping animal was waking up. As it woke, she could feel more of him across the veil. She could find him more easily now. She set the eye on her desk. Its pupil turned slowly toward the north end of campus. There, a tired instructor sat with a returnee who was finally talking. She smiled. She whispered in her own language that she had found him. Down the hall, Squad 9 sat in a debriefing room. They finally realized something was wrong. Doha remained silent. He had not looked at Kim Mun once. Yeren clutched her dead tablet like a security blanket. Son Eno stared straight ahead with a tight jaw. No one spoke for a long time. Eventually, Son Eno spoke without looking at the others. She said she would still be better than him. Yeren looked up in surprise. Son Eno said it would happen on a fair field someday. She believed he was hiding a lot. Doha added that Kim Mun was hiding everything. Yeren hugged her tablet tighter. Behind a soundproof door, Kim Mun told Instructor John everything. He described the summons and the temple. He spoke of the 2 years and the great evil. He mentioned the smile of the goddess and the ritual. He described the portal and the wolf on the street. He talked about the lock on his magic. He explained the strange sensations he felt near his teammates. Finally, he mentioned the avatar in the simulation. He spoke of the whisper in a forbidden language. Instructor Jaeon listened without taking any notes. When he finished, she sat back and rubbed her eyes. She poured herself a second drink. She welcomed him to the return file. She warned him that he would hate every second of it. However, she noted that he was not alone. Kim Mun asked if he was truly not alone. She reminded him that he was the 6th returnee. 5 others knew the experience of coming back. 2 of those people were on this campus right now. Kim Mun blinked in surprise. Instructor John smiled for the first time all day. It was not a warm smile. She seemed to enjoy the coming revelation. She told him to meet her at the West Training Annex tomorrow. They would meet at 0600 hours. She promised to introduce him. He asked who he would meet. She said he would meet his senior returnees. In the chest of Kim Mun, the sleeping animal opened both eyes.